Shellbuck, everyone. How are you today? I hope you're having a good week. Now, in this cartoon lesson, we're going to think about the topic for the cartoon. We're going to have a brainstorm. So this is a brain scratch, this is a brainstorm. And think of lots of ideas, and then you'll need to plan how you can make your cartoon so that everyone can understand it. So sometimes that will involve talking to other people to see whether they understand it and whether they think that plan's a good idea. And then the other thing to think about is the reason we're doing a particular topic is that you may be able to contribute your cartoon, if you want to, towards a book. And the book will be both digital and hard copy, and we'll put it in your school library. So let's get started. Now, the first thing we do when we're designing our comics is we're going to have a brainstorm. So in this brainstorm, what you do is you think about your ideas, and I've got here some thinking clouds where I'm going to either write or draw some ideas that I have. So what's going to happen on this video is in a minute I'm going to read you out the topics, and what I'd like you to do is make your own thinking clouds and write down or draw some ideas. So the topic of our cartoon or comic, for the comic book and for this lesson, is what are the positive things that have happened while we have been learning at home? I'm going to read out these ideas that we have for you to think about, and I'm hoping that by the time I finish reading them, you'll be able to do a brainstorm about ideas for your cartoon, about how your cartoon can show something positive that's happened about learning from home. I'm going to read out the ideas that we have for you to help you think about these positive things and what your cartoon might be about. So what I'd like you to do is have a real listen and do some very deep thinking in your brain. What did your family do during learning at home that they hadn't done before? How has your thinking changed during this time? For example, how was it before the coronavirus, and what's changed now after experiencing that? How did your family practice your faith at home? What sorts of things did you do to make learning at home more enjoyable or better? How has your family connected or come together during this time? Make a picture about a day in the life of learning at home. Is there something that has brought you together as a family, which has captured who your family is? What have you lost and gained? If you haven't come up with your idea for your picture yet, you might want to re-listen to those ideas, or you can read them in the letter that was sent to your parents. After you've got your idea, we need to go on to the next stage, which is working out what we call the composition of your comic, which could also be explained as the design or the arrangement of how you're going to organise your drawing and the words. Now I'm going to suggest that you do some rough sketches and you're thinking about your comic. So you're thinking, will one scene explain the idea that I have, the idea that I want to share with other people? So you could have a little sketch and then think, will it be like that, or will I use two scenes? Can you see here that even on one page I can have two pictures in two squares, so two scenes, which are explaining the story. You might remember this one that I did earlier. So I decided that having two scenes would explain my story much more clearly. The other thing you're thinking about when you're doing this is, are people going to understand what I'm trying to show them? And a good way of working that out is to do this little sketch, but to verbally explain it or tell somebody about it. To say, look, I'm going to have a person here saying this, or this is going to be this scene. What do you think? Do you think I can do it all in one picture? Or do you think I can do it in two? Or would it be better to have 4 pictures on one page? So remember that when someone looks at your cartoon, because we read English and we read from the top left across this way, it means that when someone reads your cartoon, they will automatically start up here and read the first thing on the left. If everything's level, they'll read what's on the left. So they're going to read this one, then this one, then this one, and then go down. Again, in this cartoon, they'll start on the left top. So they'll read this one, then they'll read this one, and then they'll read that one. So you want to make sure that it tells the story. Do you remember the 3 different ways that we added words? There's the thinking cloud, where you put thoughts or imagination, the word bubble, where you put what people are saying, and the caption. The caption is where you're wanting the reader to just read it and know something. Again, if you look at this cartoon, if we start from the top left-hand corner, the first thing the reader sees is a caption. And this caption says online meeting. So it's almost just letting the reader know what the scene is about. And then if you look down, the next thing you can find is next to the dog a little word bubble. And the word bubble says woof. So it's indicating that the dog is speaking. Then you would look to the right from there and you'll see that there's an imagination cloud that's coming from the person in the middle of the picture. So that shows us what that person's thinking. So your task for this lesson is to think about the themes, the ideas we discussed about the positive things that have happened during the time that you've been learning at home. So you could re-listen to those ideas again by going back to the beginning of this video. Then remember, you need to brainstorm how you're going to put those ideas into a cartoon. And then I would suggest that you have a discussion with someone in your house about whether they understand your idea and whether it will work. Get some feedback. You can do the cartoon with a thumbprint person or a stick figure or a sausage person. That's up to you. The main thing is that you think of a cartoon about the theme of the positive things that have been happening from learning from home. Then if you would like to have your comic in our comic book, you will need to get your parents or a guardian to email that comic to me. So you'll need to have a look at the letter that was sent out to your family for more information. Okay, good luck making your comic, and I look forward to seeing your responses. Bye. What did your family do during learning at home that they hadn't done before? How has your thinking changed during this time, before and after Corona? How did your family practice their faith at home? What sorts of things did you do to make learning at home more enjoyable or better? How has your family connected or come together during this time? Make a picture about a day in the life of learning at home. Is there something that has brought you together as a family which has captured who your family is? What have you lost and gained? Sorry about my singing, but have a good deep think and then good luck. Goodbye